I'm Bill Lassard.
And I'm Steve Baldwin.
And this is The Real Web. Today we're talking with Rob Sutton of Big Poo Generator.
One question I've been burning to ask you is, what is the reality of being an online band versus the myth of it?
Versus the myth of it?
Well, the myth of it is, you upload your music to the internet and big things happen.
Well, I could tell you a few things about that. The myth that you can get rich and get a record deal or something of that nature, well, I guess it is a myth, and a few people might have it come true for them, but in our experience, that's never been the case. Now, it may just be the subject matter that we take on, or maybe something else, but with the internet, it seems like it's more about just letting the world listen to your music if they can find it. As in the past, it was extremely difficult to let even just 100 people listen to your music, and nowadays the whole world can download your music. So I think for some people, myself included, it's the satisfaction is not necessarily getting a big break, but just getting a few emails, from people saying, "Hey, we liked your stuff." That's a lot of fun, actually.
So it's breaking through the kind of like the vacuum.
You just think about it; it's incredible that I get emails from people from all around the world telling me about this music that we recorded, and it's just hearing feedback like that is certainly worth uploading a few songs.
You're on MP3.com, which has its DAM, or Digital Automatic Music, CD selling function, right? So I suppose you are selling a few CDs.
Well, yeah, we've sold a modest amount, I'd have to say. Every now and then we sell one. It shows you where it's sold, and whether it's France or Australia or right here in the United States. It's fun to see that somebody's willing to dish out I think it's $5.99 for some of our music. And actually, we have some other sites too on MP3.com.
How long have you been playing in bands?
Basically, back through high school, I was in garage bands and stuff like that, and then we did a little battle of the bands thing in high school and won that playing Led Zeppelin tunes and things like that. And that didn't really satisfy us, of course, and we didn't really want to go into doing standard rock and roll fare, so we decided to kind of get a little more creative and do some weird stuff that mainly entertained us. That's my general spiel. I always say we did it to entertain ourselves, and maybe that's a thing you could look into on internet music. Most of these people out there are doing it for the fun of it, for the sheer joy of creating, and not just for making a buck. And that's what we've done. And maybe some marketing guy at a record company didn't think it would make some money, so what? We put it out there, and we're having fun doing it, and that's the bottom line.
How long have you guys been online, anyway?
I kind of came across the MP3 movement sort of late in the game. It might have been a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and then I started uploading it, and I finally kind of happened across the MP3.com site, and then I put one of our songs, it was I'm Going to Kick Myself in the Balls, put that up there, and about a month later I got an email from a bunch of people saying that they liked the song, and I forgot that I put the song up on that site, and then I started following it a little more closely, and we put up more songs on MP3.com.
I remember seeing that on the top 40 charts at some point.
Actually, we've done quite well, I think. It's hard to gauge, aside from just the charting positions, how well you've done compared to other bands. I mean, I've seen a number of bands that have been up in the top 10 alternative charts for months and months, and we've kind of hovered in there.
Has being an online band or a band with an online presence changed your style? For instance, have you started to write shorter songs because of the download time?
That's a great point. We have been writing songs, and we have been trying to limit them, although we've always had relatively short songs. I guess 3 minutes might be the max on most of them. The shorter the song, the quicker the download. But as bandwidth increases, I don't know how significant that's going to be.
You're going to do concept albums.
Well, we have done a concept album. We did a kind of a rock opera called Secret Love. That's on one of the MP3.com sites. I don't know which, but it's out there, about a dinosaur or a toilet seat creating the meteor crater in Arizona. And just a silly little thing. But
It seems like your bands, you have various different bands, and each one of these bands has a different concept. I mean, Big Poo Generator, the concept seems to be defecation and utter silliness. And then the Gland Puppies is all about dogs and silliness.
I'll tell you the truth. On all those sites, we just kind of tossed it up in the air and let it land where it may. The Gland Puppies was the original name of the band, and then we changed it back in, I think, 92 to Big Poo Generator. And then the whole idea of having a band name just kind of got lost, and we put out a tape on our own with a whole bunch of different band names, just scattering it around. And
was that the Seattle CD?
Well, yeah, the Seattle CD was the Big Poo. That's when we changed our name to Big Poo Generator.
You've been listening to part 1 of our conversation with Big Poo Generator. Stay tuned for more of The Real Web.
Now, what do you play? I mean, it wasn't clear on the MP3 site.
Well, to tell you the truth, we all play all sorts of different instruments. I play the guitar and bass, and occasionally we'll pound on some drums and do stuff like that. And occasionally I'll sing. Ben, he handles a lot of the orchestration, keyboards, guitar, cello, that type of thing. And John plays the guitar and does a little singing and clapping. And then we have some guest performers come in periodically, just some friends.
Where do you guys record?
Well, we've recorded in Ben's basement. This is an absolutely independent recording effort. We don't go to studios. We just get whatever we can and put it together. And we have no formal experience doing audio recording. We just kind of figured it out on the fly. And I guess that's kind of weird. I know a lot of people think it sounds okay for the weirdness of the music. We don't have the money to pay an engineer to do it right, so we decided to do it wrong on our own.
What type of gear do you use?
Well, in the past, we were working with drum machines and just recording onto multi-track, reel-to-reel stuff. But more recently, we've gone to hard disk recording, and we've tried to get that going. There's so much you can do. It's just a matter of how much time you want to put into it, and time is really the critical commodity when you're talking about doing stuff like this.
So you use like Pro Tools to do the editing?
Yeah, right now we're messing with that, but in the past we didn't have any computers involved except for kind of a sequencer that's on board I think it was a Roland D20, and that was the main building block of a lot of our music, and then we just recorded it onto an 8-track reel-to-reel recording unit that we rented, and then we kind of bumped that onto a DAT tape, and there you have it. Not much to it, just kind of piecing, instruments together and having fun. Really, it was just fun doing it. That was the whole point of it. That it turned out to be funny or enjoyable for other people to listen to is kind of almost an accident.
Do you guys still gig around, or are you?
No, we never really played many gigs, to tell you the truth. We played some live performances in Chicago, and in Los Angeles we did a couple shows. In LA we were kind of just putting some acoustic stuff together. And right now we'd like to record some more music and then possibly do more shows.
But it's easier to have groupies if you're an offline band and you do shows, don't you think?
Oh yeah, certainly. To tell you the truth of our music, I don't know what the hell our shows would look like if we actually went on tour. It would be kind of bad.
Why do you say that? You shouldn't talk like that.
Well, that's the whole deal with this group. It's trying to skate that line between the really bad and the really bad.
Well, some of your material, it would seem to me, might fit in with some kind of edgy DJ, radio DJ shows. Has any of Big Poo Generator turned up on the radio, to your knowledge?
Yeah, I hear about Dr. Demento. I heard we were played on there a long time ago, and I believe we were played on some other shows. And of course, college radio DJs always, call me up or email me talking about how big a hit playing some of our music was on their shows. It's kind of hard to track. We kind of just throw this stuff out, and we don't have a manager. We don't pay much attention to copyright and all that stuff. It's just, if somebody plays it, who knows? I have no idea who plays our music. I have no idea who listens to it. I know a few people from emails and stuff like that. It's just scattered to the wind.
How did you start off as a Led Zeppelin cover band and end up doing this?
Well, You know, I think there are a lot of Led Zeppelin type cover bands out there in high school, and you know, it's just some guys that get together and jam in the basement or in the garage, and that's what we were doing. And of course, we had sort of a weird sense of humor about us, and we started recording odd songs, you know, and we liked it and had fun, and it was certainly more enjoyable than doing cover versions of rock tunes. And so it just progressed like that. And it's more of a project, kind of an art maybe, and not so much a performance thing. We just like creating the stuff to listen to, and that's basically why we did it. Certainly I could go out and listen to some great rock and roll. It's already been recorded. But our stuff I wasn't able to find. I couldn't find songs that dealt with the subject matter that we wrote about and the musical composition style that we used. So we had to kind of do it for ourselves. And that's basically why we did it and why we didn't go the route of a traditional rock and roll band.
You've been listening to part 2 of our conversation with Big Poo Generator. Stay tuned for more of The Real Web